Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. It is Professor Anime. You already know who it is. Welcome back to yet again another video. Hopefully all of you are having a wonderful day. So it appears we actually have some Promised Neverland development news. According to Yonko Productions over on Twitter, which is a reliable news source for all your manga and anime updates. You should follow him, by the way. Apparently it was stated in an interview by the author of the Promised Neverland himself that according to how the story has been going so far, the story is about 50% of the way finished already. So, in other words, The Promised Neverland is about halfway done. So before everyone starts freaking out and saying, oh my god, The Promised Neverland is 50% done already? Jeez, I gotta get caught up really quick. I mean, trust me, I still need to get caught up as well. I've been kind of holding off on The Promised Neverland. I'm about 20 or 15 chapters behind, so eventually I will get caught up. I'll probably actually do that, you know, later this week. But regardless, let's get back onto the topic at hand. It was stated in an interview that The Promised Neverland is 50% of the way finished already by the author himself. Now, this could be the case, but whenever an author tells you this, it's 90% not always the case. I mean, look at this for example. Ichiro Oda previously mentioned in a previous issue of the One Piece Shinbun in 2012 that he had finished around 60% of the story. Now, this article was recently posted on the year of 2016, which is about 4 years later, and apparently he has about 65% of the story finished. So if we calculate that to now, in today's standards, he might be at least 70% of the way there, but regardless, it has been years since then, and he's only made a little bit of progress in terms of the completion percentage of his story, and that is simply because an author's story is constantly expanding. So for the author to actually say that he's about 50% of the way finished with The Promised Neverland, I highly doubt that is the case. I'm not doubting his words, but I'm just saying that give it a little bit more time and The Promised Neverland will eventually start to expand more with more chapters as the story develops from here on out. Also, when the anime eventually does arrive for The Promised Neverland, I mean, let's face it, it's selling like hotcakes in Japan. It's doing very well for itself. Probably an anime adaptation is already in the works. We just haven't heard any announcements on the matter at hand about it. But once this series eventually does receive an anime, the sales of the manga will skyrocket even further. This will end up causing the author to get more motivated to actually produce more material for The Promised Neverland, therefore in turn constantly expanding the story. I mean, let's also look at it this way. What about various authors who have published their own book and later they became series? Most of these authors have had the set goal of just having one specific story that they wanted to tell. But eventually, over time, they later started to develop that story into a series, and that eventually ended up, you know, becoming to what it was today. Now, I'm not saying that money is everything, but money is a motivating factor to actually push someone to, you know, progress things a little bit more so that way they can, you know, at least become sort of financially stable. I mean, that's usually the case when we have these long-running series that never seem to end. So what I'm trying to say here is that when it comes down to the author saying that, you know, The Promised Neverland is 50% of the way done, while that was confirmed in an interview, while the series seems to be halfway done, we simply cannot take that as gospel, at least just yet. Because as I stated before, The Promised Neverland is still a relatively new series, and there is still much more to be told here, because as time goes on, the story is going to constantly develop, as well as the author's creativity and ideas. Ideas pop in and out like that, and if he wants to include that within the story, then that is what is to be expected, and therefore that is something that we should all take into consideration as the story will expand over time, because I highly doubt that The Promised Neverland is going to end, you know, that quick, especially before even the anime comes out. Once the anime comes out, I can bet you there will be a drastic change within this community who actually reads The Promised Neverland and how people view it. And I'm pretty sure that will be a motivating factor to continue the series. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you actually believe that The Promised Neverland is about 50% of the way done and that we will eventually see it end, you know, relatively soon? I mean, it is halfway done, so there's still a long way to go, but nonetheless, I'm pretty sure there is still more to expand upon in the universe of The Promised Neverland. And that's simply just my personal opinion, but let me know your thoughts. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoy what I had to say, and consider subscribing if you want to see more. With that said, everyone, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.